sorry. Sup, it's your unfriendly red rat neighbor Kevin Carnage, and this is the 100 subscriber special. Thumbnail was given to me by Six Master of the Master Clan. Y'all know we gotta send more shout outs though, especially the Kid Zeus of Kid Zeus Studios, Zoku Meister, Liam Meister, number 8, just to name a few. These are what if creators that I personally think are amazing. Go check the links out in the description. Go on to their page and tell them the Carnage sent you. But anyway, without further ado, before any other thing, we gotta give shout out to all 100 subscribers. This is for y'all. This is for you to get me to 100 subscribers from what basically was like 2 subscribers for the past 2 years, and finally 2020 was the limelight for a nigga to be more I'm not as successful as the majority of the most, but I'll still make this work out for me so I could be one of the top YouTubers. I'm guessing there are famous YouTubers in Belize. I'm not sure. I wasn't looking them up. In fact, their content probably is boring to me, because I'm a rare breed of Belizean. I like anime and I'm oblivious to a lot of bullshit. But anyway, this is what if Deku was Carnage. Well, to be exact, I was planning on making this one a little bit gorier than usual. I mean, I've been doing a lot of gory shit recently. I uploaded one, I think, because this is the first video I uploaded. I mean, I'm actually recording since a few months, like 2 months. So I'm physically recording a new what if, meaning this wasn't done in the past. This is being done June 3rd. And if I don't upload it June 3rd, then it will be in the past. But anyway, I will be uploading this later on today. So anyway, let's start off with 20 years in the past. We're going to have Eddie Brock and Cletus Cassidy being MHA, but Eddie Brock won't be staying here for too long. Actually, he will be dead, and Carnage will be absorbing Venom symbiote. But later on, thanks to Eddie Brock weakening Carnage symbiote with his host a tad bit, that that gave All Might and his party opportunity to take down Carnage himself. Later on, a few scientists did some experiment on Cletus Cassidy, where they end up finding sound waves separates, or using a certain frequency in sound, separates the Carnage symbiote from Deku. Not technically, really, because Carnage is actually in Cletus Cassidy's bloodstream, isn't it? I'm not sure. But to counteract that, after removing a part of the symbiote, they noticed that Cletus Cassidy still has much of his abilities, meaning like a fraction of the Carnage symbiote they extracted with sound, and the rest were legit attached to Cletus Cassidy himself. So meaning Cletus Cassidy is Carnage and is not Carnage at the same time. But side note towards that, after being careless a tad bit, Cletus Cassidy actually started rampaging, causing the the previous symbiote they took out of him using the sounds, using the microwave or whatever, got a chance to escape. But at this moment, that specific symbiote doesn't remember shit. Yeah. So they finally do subdue Cletus Cassidy and his Carnage by filling up a room filled with liquid nitrogen gas, which froze both party, then they place him under maximum guard. But no one actually was paying enough attention to notice that the other part of the symbiote, which is Carnage himself, but also not Carnage, escaped through the commotions and stuff. So again, similar shits happen in canon. With not in canon, but the sideline with All Might fighting All for One later happens, and we time skip to the future right about now with a young 5-year-old Izuku Midoriya who just got some bad news, but not not, yeah, not but he just got some bad news. Inko kind of let's say before Deku got the bad news that he doesn't have a quirk, Inko noticed that Deku was like, abnormally strong for his age, so she thought Deku had some kind of super strength or super enhancement type quirk. But arriving at the quirk doctor says, oh, he's quirkless, which before then Deku did admire All Might for the 2 instances with the Carnage symbiote. Oh, and in this fact, everyone knows that the Carnage symbiote is a thing, because then he was put on the news. He did kill a lot of people throughout his reign of terror. So he is second to the number one's most greatest villain, which is All for One. I'm making him a little bit weaker than All for One, because if I'm getting this correct, I'm technically a symbiote holder in the universe I'm currently from, but my Carnage symbiote isn't. Basically, my Carnage symbiote is the original symbiote that lost his memory through the process of time. So, the Carnage symbiote that I have takes the form of a dog. And if you want to see that, get me to 200 subscribers, and I'll finally finish off the slight animation I have. If you want, I also started my new my bad, I didn't say this in the beginning. I also made my own Discord server thingy, so the links will be in the description. And if you want to check out the first fucked up animation that I did, my link for TikTok is also in the description. Y'all notice that the first one was kind of fucked up because it was like sticky stuff. Now I'm working on the original, but I'm gonna do something to make this more interesting. Get me to 200 subscribers, then I'll post that up on YouTube. Basically, it's a what if, but with animation clips that I personally did myself. Yeah. But anyway, let's get back into Deku's situation. Like I said, Inko noticed that Deku had a few of new how you say burst of strength, where when Inko's cleaning around the house, Deku helps around, like that kid couple years ago that was super muscly, like, and now he's just a fat piece of lard. Oh, my bad. I referenced real life. But there was literally a really buff kid. I think I was I was like really obsessed with that guy for a little while. I trained myself to look like that shit. But he was like 6 and I was like fucking 12 or some shit. Yeah. I'm older than that guy. Anyway, but again, the quirk doctor declared that Deku doesn't have any quirk, and this kind of disappointed Deku because he thought he had a quirk, and he also, mimicked a lot of stuff that All Might did and stuff. So, but Inko reassured him, in canon, Inko kind of said some shit that kind of broke Deku a bit. But in my what if, Inko doesn't do that shit. She's like, screw whatever the doctor says. He doesn't know shit. And Inko then proceeded to take Deku to various other quirk doctors. Because then, fuck, before we continue with this shit, there could not only be one quirk doctor in MHA. That's a bullshit. But sadly to say, they also declared Deku quirkless, but one specific doctor noticed an anomaly in Deku's genetic makeup. I sound really smart there just now, but no, I scripted that whole shit. I shouldn't have said that. Well, anyway, in genetic makeup, which tells that Deku has, I'm gonna put it in here, the God factor. Let's say the God factor does exist in MHA. This is different from people who are just basically quirkless. They're technically still quirkless, but they have a bit more strength than normal humans, agility, speed, and intelligence than just a regular quirkless person. So Deku is one of these, has one of the god genes. Reason why his father had the god genes as well, but it didn't activate. Whatever happened to Deku's dad, I don't really care. It's not like I hate Deku's father. I did do a TikTok with Deku and his dad back in a time. But somehow it got to me, and I kind of forgot the character. So yeah, but then they still have to put in the books that Deku is quirkless, and the few amount of people that knows about the god genes or god genetics did contact Inko so they could actually place Deku under facilities. Sorry, I cut out for a minute there. Special facilities that focus on testing and training various people with the god genes. So basically, Deku would be placed under a bunch of supervision with basically people that could technically be called his cousins. I'm guessing his cousins. Yeah. Yes, his cousins. We're going to say his cousin. But it's not like they took or abducted Deku. Deku still get the chance to go home every now and again. And this is not going to be like some secret organization. They're the same people that took Cletus Cassidy. So technically they're good guys. Technically they're bad guys as well. But not really. We're going to find out later on. This is going to be a regular staple of mine. So for every 100 subscribers, I will be doing a Deku Carnage no, you know what? I'll take that back. I'll make my mind up. In fact, I'll make this a one-shotter since it's going to be a very longer video than my normal one. I actually do have a long video up here, don't I? But anyway, so yes, Deku goes a long period of time, but then gets a chance to go home, hang out with his mom for a month and change. So we time skip. We at that moment Deku was just 5 years old. He's been we time skip another 5 years old where Deku is now 10, and he has he's noticeably different from when he started the secret society sciencey stuffy thingy where they studied his god genetics, and they still can't figure what kind of DNA codex or DNA code was written in Deku's DNA. In Deku's god DNA, I'm guessing, because it's not like he's automatically a god and can use flashy light movements and stuff like this. No, his ability is basically physical, mental, and spiritual, I'm guessing. If he doesn't train with it, it's basically nothing similar to what happened to his father. His father also had the god genetics, but he had a quirk as well, so he more focused on using his quirk than using his god genetics, which made his god genetics more inferior than his quirk. So So then, since Deku doesn't have a quirk, they're more focused on developing his god genetics, which made Deku um physically stronger than a normal human. Let's basically say Deku at the age of 10 years old is as strong as 3 men. You know, because the training they got and experience they got from the Sans Sea place. I don't have a name for this place yet. We're gonna call it Oscorp. Isn't Oscorp like fucking someplace? Anyway, we're gonna call it Oscorp. So the people at Oscorp, they actually train and help Deku develop his god genes to be more apparent. You know what, man? You feeling what I'm getting? But anyway, blah. So we we shift our focus to an underground passage located at Oscorp scientific lab for fucking studies of gods. I mean, I don't know why I did that just now. 20 years, like I said, have passed, and the symbiote has a more childish outlook. Because then every time he, step out or not, he doesn't step out. Since he still have the morphing capability, he kind of, infiltrated Oscorp, which he didn't left Oscorp because there was a way for him to leave. They just 20 years later, and they still haven't remembered that they lost a part of the Carnage symbiote. So he's masquerading around as a normal child, but not just as a normal child. He has a typical mentality of a normal child, given that he has, various certain times of anger outbursts, like similar to Bakugo, but not to that extreme of yelling out. He just, he's calm, cool, collected, but also fun, charming, and a slight SpongeBob-y. Like, he's like, bah! Like, it's like geeky. I mean, cuckoo, slightly cuckoo, not just cuckoo and stuff. So, like I said, 5 years has passed. Deku is now 10, and the Carnage symbiote is Deku's best friend. But the Carnage symbiote is disguised as disguised as a child. He's not a fucking real human being, but he's doing it to, get closer and to learn more stuff. Remember, in the 20 years ago, he was separated from his host, but he didn't get any memory of any sort. Let's basically say the scientist accidentally duplicated the Carnage symbiote, but this Carnage symbiote doesn't have any of the Carnage tendencies, because since he was born per se, all he saw was children every day, because these science people, Oscorp people, deal in studying children and stuff, like stuff. They do study adults, but they're more focused on newborn children and 5 to up to 10-year-old kids and stuff. Anyway, so we skip all that shit, and there was a little scuffle, because one of the Carnage, they did so much experiment on Cletus Cassidy that they had a reserve section of the science lab where they mass produced a bunch of symbiotes. I'm not sure, but anyway, so those mass-produced symbiote got mad somehow. I'm thinking Carnage, since he's still frozen in ice, mentally manipulated them somehow, and they started rampaging, causing damage to the lab. As the last resort, one of the scientists decided, let's blow this shit up, but not taking into consideration that a bunch of kids are still fucking stuck here. But anyway, damn, the buzzer alarm sounds out. The lady or the voice shows up. This facility is shit. Self-destruct code activated. You have 30 minutes to evacuate because this shit go blow up. We all know what I was trying to get with on that. Mind you, me, don't judge. But yeah, and after everyone did get evacuated, Deku, being the main one of the main protagonists of the story, kind of got himself trapped with his best friend Carnage, noticing and running back into the fray. So at this moment, Carnage, as he's formerly known, doesn't really have much fears of anything. Actually, I think, didn't Carnage have some kind of weird thing to fire or some shit? Anyway, I know the only thing that he's weakened to is the sound waves and stuff. And why haven't anyone used sound waves for the last 5 years? I have no idea. I don't really know. Sorry about it. Leave it as that. Just know it's for plot convenience. In plot convenience makes story better. Oh, yay. But anyway, so the Carnage symbiote finally do find Deku, but he was passed out, and some iron beam was, on him, and the fire was getting more intense, even though the Carnage symbiote in his human form was pretty strong. He wasn't strong enough, man. No, man. Deku finally gaining consciousness, seeing that his friend is trying to raise his iron bar. Also tried helping, but to no avail, with the fire rapidly coming closer. All of a sudden, the Carnage turns to Deku and says, we probably might could raise this thing together. And Deku's like, what do you think we were doing? I mean, we can't, just get out of here. And Deku's trying to tell Carnage to get out, but then Carnage morphs in, start, protruding tentacles from his back and head, and says, we must, tell Deku, we must fuse. Together we can. And this is how Deku acquired the newfound Carnage symbiote, which it didn't just enter, like, cover Deku up like in the movie similar. He enters Deku's bloodstream via a cut on his left cheeks, which will indicate some certain stuff. He would look like fucking that guy from that Romy Kenshin, the guy with a scar on his cheek from the fucking Himura. Kenshin Himura, yeah. He looked like Kenshin Himura, because after getting a slit, getting the Carnage seeing the Carnage symbiote enter his, body and stuff like that later on, he does apply the other scar to his face, saying X marks the spot. But anyway, so finally, Deku and Carnage is now one, with Carnage not really being a typical bad guy in this one. He'll be like Venom in a more milder sense, because again, he's been raised by basically imitating bunch of kids he's seen throughout the years, so he's basically childish in a sense, right? Anyway, news spread about Oscorp blowing up, and people started complaining and refused to actually have the scientists have anything to do with their kids at all. Especially Inko, because Inko did come over to find her son in in an ambulance, smoke and shit. And one of the scientists who had nothing to do with nothing, he was basically the kind of version, and there's 100 bad guys and there's like two good individual with very kind hearts. um Inko ran over to him and smacked the living daylights out of him. Like, all right, so imagine it. The scientist is over on the corner with some, silver line stuff that absorb more or heat or something. And Inko, seeing him, just walked over the guy, trying to apologize, saying, I'm sorry for everything. But at that moment in time, that joke, do you know the sound of one hand clapping? Or do you know yeah, is it that way they say that shit? I'm not sure. I've seen it. Do you know how it sounds when one hand is clapping? Yes. So she clapped him with one hand. Like, so pow, like legit pow. Malum nigga, I mean, the scientist flew meters, I mean yards, I'm guessing meters. Yeah, meters away, a few meters, millimeters are shorter, but a few meters away, showing the extreme force Inko used behind that slap. And the guy then got on his knees, bowing down to an entire mob of moms. Y'all know that shit fucked up. Every mom type videos that I've ever watched, where she watches her son gets kidnapped, injured, or all of the above, she goes into a fit of rage. And not only in anime, I've seen this shit in real life. I smacked the kid once, and the mom, I mean, there was a reason for me smacking a kid. He was my stepson at that time, and he did some fucked up shit. Like, it's okay to discipline a child. It's not like I smacked them out of pure hatred. No, I love that kid. I still do, even though me and his mom are not together. I still love that kid. The heart. Every fucking Christmas or every October 13th, I send my little boy something. Cause his birthday is October 13th. My birthday is October 11th. That nigga, even though he's not my son, is like a gift to me. Fuck it. But anyway, that's we were getting off topic on that one. So yeah, they went ballistic. They didn't actually kill the guy. After he was bowing down, stating, and stuff, and few of the other kids then, kind of, came to his aid, because then again, out of 100 bad fucking scientists, there were 2 good scientists, and these 2 good scientists happened to be married to each other. What am I doing? But anyway, and the kids kind of protected them, then pointed out to, a bunch of the other scientists that, did some bullshit. Not basically to Deku. Deku did feel some tension there, but not too much of that. So we time skip again. Deku is now, put in middle school, because technically the science Oscorp was somewhat of a school training, teaching and stuff for them. So they switched that point of view, and they took Deku to middle school, where he finally, he does know about, Bakugo and the other kids. You have to pass them every other day, because then they do get the chance to go home. Remember, it's not like they fucking stay at the Oscorp all day, every day, they stay there for a long period of time, but not like they didn't get a chance to go home. So he does know the existence of his classmates. He just doesn't have anything much, or didn't talk to them as much, because he had friends over at Oscorp that blew up. Boom, but he has a friend in him. You got a friend in me. No copyright me. Shit, why do I keep doing that? But anyway, Deku is now keeping a very, very big secret, which we all know, and it's a Carnage. Yeah. Unlike fucking Cletus Cassidy, though, Carnage can exit Deku whenever he sees fit, but he kind of needs a new place, so he rarely exits Deku unless they're alone, like and stuff. Because Deku you could see that something's missing. Carnage and Deku is now completely fused with one another and stuff, so one can't live without the other anymore and stuff, because it's been 2 years since the incident, so and stuff, and they're about to graduate, so all that shit still happens and stuff. So we go to the Sludge villain spot, and I'm gonna try to put the Sludge villain is one of the mass-produced symbiote in this one. I'm not just gonna make him a Sludge villain anymore. We're gonna do a totally different aspect of that in this sense. So the Sludge villain was one of the escaped symbiote, rather green symbiote, but still a symbiote nonetheless. He's not no fucking creepy booger looking ass. He's still a creepy booger looking ass boy, but it's a symbiote, not a human. With Carnage recognizing this, going over, because then the symbiote did legit try to bond with Deku after reaching up to Deku, but then was rejected by Carnage, which forced this green symbiote to let go. But then finally Deku felt a little bad because the symbiote looks like it's not feeling well, but Carnage is appalled because then this isn't basically a real fucking symbiote. This is it is a real symbiote, but not really a real symbiote, because it's a clone of the symbiote. I'm guessing, with Carnage finally fucking getting his mood and eating the other, or for combining with the next symbiote, which gave Deku new abilities, because at that moment Carnage couldn't have covered Deku's entire body at this time, or do that thing where Carnage comes out and switches place with Deku. No, they just combine their strengths, intelligence, and now and again fight for dominance, but not like Carnage could take over Deku's mind. Carnage, as I said in the beginning, can exit Deku if necessary, but not for a long period of time or a long distance, because they'll probably die. So that's their flaw in this one. So that happens, and Deku is now going to Image A. Like I said, the Carnage symbiote got a little bit stronger. Deku himself also got a little bit stronger, and now the Sludge villains appear. We're still gonna put the Sludge villain in here. We gotta fucking find some way to give All Might his big character development and stuff. So a moment later, All Might, mistaking the Carnage symbiote for the Sludge villain, followed it into the alley. But then the Carnage, Carnage already fused, with Carnage getting a tad more mature, little bit more mature, not to the point of he's like the real or the original Carnage with that deep, groggy, demonic voice and shit. He sounds a little bit more milder, still kind of groggy, but hello, no, something like in between. So raise my voice a tad higher than it is as now, like like basically just raise my voice a tad higher, and that's the voice of Carnage, or the Carnage that is now bonded to Deku. Feel me? Yeah, so Deku is still a fucking big fan of All Might, freaks out and said no, he didn't see anything. He didn't see any suspicious characters passing by. He lied. Passing by, and he says, oh, okay. And then he asks Deku, All Might for an autograph. And if y'all worrying about that little notebook that Deku keeps carrying around him, Bakugo didn't get his hand on it. Still, he tried, but he barely could have even, touched Deku. Throughout the 2 years, Deku hasn't beaten up anyone, but hasn't gotten himself beat up as well. He does that Ultra Instinct type moves, Bakugo a lot, where he fucking evades all of Bakugo's attacks. Or not only Bakugo, there's a few other fucking, persons, due to Deku looking a bit more cooler and not nerdy in a sense. Thanks to Oscorp. Thank you very much for making my boy look so cool, ripped, and shit. But anyway, and so the opposite sex kind of, cling to him more than they would have done in canon and stuff. This is what caused the majority of boys in the classroom to kind of hate Deku a bit, just a tad bit. Not like they come after him with iron pipes, bots. Some of them actually use their quirks on him. They do all that shit. I'm just fucking with you. They do all that shit with Deku again, doing his sensing thing and dodging every one of them, just playing around till they run out of steam with him leaving and shit. So we get back to the scene with All Might, and All Might is getting ready to leap and stuff, but Deku does some parkour shit and lands on All Might's back. He didn't grip on right away. All Might was dazing off, or he heard some scream and flew off with Deku's book. So he didn't go with All Might because he wanted to talk to All Might about something. He already has the ability to become a hero, so he's not doing that shit. He is going to become a hero regardless of the situation. He has power that he's been keeping secret, right? And stuff. Everyone just think that he has some sensory type ability to have him I barfed. I apologize. To have him avoid a lot of advances against him and stuff. So yeah, he did some parkour shit and landed on All Might. All Might landed on a building, revealing his true form, and Deku kind of about it a bit, but then ascertain what happened to him, with him revealing that he fought the Carnage symbiote, which he knows about, and a few months later he fought 1HUNDRED, which he was still injured from fighting the Carnage symbiote and shit like that. So he is fuck. He still has half of his stomach gone missing and stuff like this. So with this later on, we're going to have Carnage have some regenerative abilities. I'm not sure, but we're going to be helping out All Might later on in the series. I'm guessing. I'm not sure if this is gonna be a 2-parter or a 1-parter. You know what? Let's make it a 2-parter. So in the span of today and tomorrow. Yeah. Yeah. So yeah. So stuff happens with. Finally, like I said, the Sludge villain does exist in this, and All Might was looking for the Sludge villain because he just committed a crime, but he didn't go through that alley that Deku was in. It was just fucking a straightaway symbiote looking for Deku. And this instance where a bunch of artificial symbiotes pair to Deku is not a one-off type thing. This was just the first one. Remember, they blew up a fucking entire fucking building filled with these motherfuckers. Most of them got destroyed, but some of them is and will escape. Come on, man. So anyway, yeah, so the Sludge villain shit still happens and stuff. And Deku finally arrives. Bakugo, down the stairs and stuff with All Might at this time, because All Might was walking with him as well. And Deku, seeing that a classmate of his is in danger and stuff, ran immediately into the fray, because he still is that hero kind of guy. And somehow dust started flowing around and stuff like this, or he made it so that the Sludge villain couldn't see, but it was so strong that his surrounding area couldn't see, except for two specific people, that is All Might and Bakugo. So Deku still saves Bakugo, but out how can I say this? Deku still saves Bakugo using his skills and stuff like this, but he couldn't physically pummel the Sludge villain. So what he does was the Carnage symbiote finally, after absorbing the other one, could have morphed Deku's body at will as from now. Then he extending his arm, grabbing the Carnage symbiote and Bakugo in one shot, shaking them both, having the the Sludge villain fall down to the floor, then gently throwing Bakugo to a safe distance, then swirling his hands at such a speed that it created a small tornado, I'm guessing. Yeah, I'm not sure if that ability or stuff is plausible, but I'm the master of this what if, so it does happen. And after All Might seeing this, kind of wanted to take Deku under his wing to become his next successor, because Deku did this real quickly, and I was in a span of like 30 seconds and everything was over. Like, no damage to the surrounding areas, no civilian harm. He also thanks to the mini tornado, stopped a bunch of fires and stuff. I don't know that would have made the fire more intense, but it was drawing in oxygen. Have anyone ever been near a tornado? I have not. I'm just saying, a tornado is spinning at such high velocity. So, isn't it just taking air with it? So the closer you get to a tornado, isn't air more thinner or some shit? Or it's harder to breathe around it? Alright, so not doing that anymore. I apologize. So, Bakugo still does the same bullshit. Then All Might then comes and still does the same bullshit. And the story continues. But it ended with their story then. But the story continues later on with, Deku finally entering MHA. Not entering, but, go take the entrance exam. The entrance exam. Oh, a side note, like I said, two people witnessed what Deku did in that incident a couple days ago, and All Might then told him that he has a similar demonic being within him. Hopefully, you're not as bad as the previous one. That conversation is going to be hold for later on. You know what? I will be making this a two-parter. So I'll be uploading this on later on today, and tomorrow I will be creating the next part, finishing off everything in one session. Not one session, but as you know, as it is, because this is the 100 subscriber special. Whoop whoop. Anyway, so Deku, passed the entrance exam as, like, you could call it valedictorian, but he was number one, as if him, defeating more robots, and still, as in canon, taking out the zero pointer. But then he, instead of his hand breaking, the Carnage symbiote did some shit to make it as hard as harder than anything, and he pummeled the zero pointer's face in and stuff. So yeah, that shit did happen. So he finally is in the academy with a bunch of weird shit actually still happening, and he asked the Carnage to morph into something so he could pretend to have somewhat of a quirk, so they could not confuse the classroom. So he has where he could turn his blood into various objects and stuff. So he's a shape shifter at this moment. So they think he shape shifts using his blood and stuff. But this is just basically the Carnage symbiote and stuff. So yeah, that makes sense. I hope it makes sense. So he always have Carnage in the form of a dog next to him, for plot makes stories better every time. So yeah, so we finally get to constantly see Carnage, and I'm saying a dog because, like I said, it's similar to the slight animation that I'm doing, where I am the main character in it, and it's basically me just revealing my origin story in a 20-minute animation type of video. I learned to draw, not fastly, but I copied a lot of stuff as well, so it's not as legit as me drawing everything. So I basically just draw me, a dog, me transforming, a dog transforming, and the background or the surrounding are just images I took off the internet and stuff. And I'm still working on walking or drawing how to walk in animation. I'm dumb, so don't judge me. And if you all didn't notice, that's where we're going to be leaving this off. No. Yeah, that's where we're going to be leaving this off. Come back tomorrow for part 2 of What If Deku Was Carnage. I mean, technically, the title isn't what we were going for. I think they made a mistake. It was What If Deku Had the Carnage symbiote. But we work with it as is, because we're cool like that. And my nigga did such a good job on it. So, oh, this is Six Meister of the Meister Clan. Yeah, he made this thumbnail for me, acknowledging the working universe of Carnage. You know what I mean? Meaning he acknowledged me as my individual character. Basically, I'm weaker than Six Meister, to be honest with you, but we're friends. It just makes that we're living on totally different spectrum of the fucking universe. So doubt shit, I'm guessing. I'm not sure. Anyway, like I said, I created a Discord server. The link is in the description. If you want to see the first small or the short animation that I did, it's not as it's not going to be the same when I release out my new one. It's gonna be slightly different, but that's my first animation. If y'all like that part, y'all could just get me to that 200 subscribers like I asked, and I'll release the full video, like legit. If you don't want to see it, still subscribe. I'm begging. But anyway, this is Kevin Carnage, and I'm forgetting some shit. Check out the links in the description. People such as Six Meister of the Meister Clan, Kid Zeus of Kid Zeus Studios, Zoku Meister, Liam Meister, and number 8, just to mention a few. These are What If creators that I think are amazing, and I know y'all will too. Yeah. Like, subscribe, leave a comment down below. This is Kevin Carnage, and I'll see you in the next one. Holla at a nigga, say